Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to the Shake Up with Dr. Kit. This is that program where we don't change the structure of things, we just reframe it. And we try to get as many people as possible to be a part of this because it's not just me talking, it's just me sharing with other people. And so we just want you to be a part of this. So just kind of just hang tight with us for a little bit. We're not going to be long like that, but we just want to hold your attention. This is the Shake Up where we just want you to take a look at your relationship. It's all about relationship on this shakeup. Listen, a few weeks ago, we had a young man on with us, and we were discussing something that is very near and dear to him, and it fits within the family motif. Okay, and we were getting some questions about that, and so we have this particular question on with us on for us tonight, and we just want to be able to deal with it. And since he is an expert on this stuff so I figured, well, I'm going to bring him back on because everybody enjoyed him, and it's my buddy John Ruffin. And again, I'm going to let him introduce himself to you. So just hold on there. John's going to be coming right up any moment now to join us on the Shake Up. Okay? All right, John. I want to welcome you, John. All right. So we're still holding for John. I know he's in here, John. Okay, John, man. There you go. So John, at best technology is just technology, right?
I had to change. I went to my tablet because my computer was causing some difficulties. So hopefully this is better.
Oh man, no, we can see you, man. We can see you, man. At best, you're better looking than me, So hey, so no matter, man. I have to go to a big screen to try to get some good looking about me. But welcome, John, man. Welcome, John, man. Welcome,
Thank
man.
you.
It's good to have you back on again. And the last time we were here, we were discussing something that was really very important, and you had given us some stats about. And there are different reasons that would lead to what we're talking about tonight. And so we're going to just give our listeners some of the reasons why before we kind of dive into this issue. So the questions then. So we have this question. And we're going to read the question. I'm going to read the question, and then we're going to take a look at the question, and also like I said, take a look at what are some of the reasons why this might happen. It says, and this is from Oliver R. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hey, Oliver, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sending in this question. It's a very pertinent question. It says, is it wrong? Now, that's a pretty strong word. Is it wrong for me to discipline my stepchildren like they are my own? I know that they are not my biological children, but I feel that since their mother and I have made a commitment that it is my obligation. There's another strong word, wrong, obligation, to not only love them, beautiful word, but to discipline them. She does not agree. John, you are the expert on this, and sometimes I may not just want to agree with you and everything. I may become the antagonist sometimes just to light it up a little bit, okay? So, but in the end, it's all going to come out in the wash, man. So what do you think about that, man? Is it wrong?
Oh my goodness. I mean, they're asking the wrong question.
Oh,
If
okay.
you understood what discipline was and it is almost asking, is it wrong for me to take a breath of air?
Oh, John. Wait, John. Wait, John. You need to back it up and explain that because I'm kind of out there. I'm on a limb now, man. Talk to us about that.
So a lot of times we confuse discipline with punishment.
Oh, okay.
And so when people are thinking of punishment, then yes, you're asking the right question. Is it wrong for me to punish my stepkids. And you got to understand what punishment is. Punishment is only to inflict pain, to share pain, the pain you feel, and then to project it onto someone else. That's punishment. Eye for an eye, tooth for a
Right.
tooth. But discipline derives from disciple. It means to model after, to shapen, to instruct. What person who loves another person would not discipline that person when they see they can give them some instructions that would be helpful to them? So yes, it's like saying, should I breathe? Should I fill my gas tank up when it's empty? It's not a question you should ask of if I should. The question is, am I doing? Am I disciplining these kids that are under my care?
Okay, John,
That
let me
that
ask
I
you this,
love.
man. Let me ask, John, John, are you dealing in semantics, man? I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on, John, man. Are you sure you're not dealing in semantics, man?
No, this is the truth. When you know what discipline is, you
Yes.
give it, and especially with people you love, isn't discipline is an expression of love. I
Oh,
can't love you. I can't. A woman would say to their man, their husband, who is the stepkids to their children, say, "Hey, I want a man who loves me and my kids."
okay. All right.
So why would they say, "But you can't discipline them"?
So what happened then when she said, listen, he said, Oliver said, listen, she said she don't agree that I should discipline my, these children. And I'm with you now. You see, you brought me back online. See, John, you brought me back online, man. You said, listen, like they are my own. And he said it's almost like he has an obligation to do that.
Right.
Right. So, but here we are, this that's the obligations. And listen, but so here we are saying, well, how did they get to being married or and not have discussed that?
Right.
See, that's one of the
Right.
questions. Now, John, so we're talking blended family here. So let's back it up a little. So blended family, okay? We come back to this. So can you talk about some of the reasons that would lead to blended family? Just to identify, 2 or 3 or 4 reasons why we would have a blended family.
Okay.
What are some
So
of the nuances in that, the differences in that we'll be looking at based on the reason for blended family. Then we're going to come back into how we
right.
discipline these children.
So I'll try to answer that question because that is a loaded question. A blended family is when you have uh, two two people who are
Mm-hmm.
coming together, who have, for the sake of this argument, who have other people that are a part of their life,
Okay.
a part of your union together. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
uniting with you and you have others that have to come along with you, we are a blended family. I'm blending my relationship with you with my relationship with your kids. And let me say this, it is a compliment for someone to say it is their obligation to be a part of the discipline process with their stepchild. Now,
Okay.
here's another reason problems come up is because the stepchild is resistant
Would the
to
age be an issue right here? The age of the child, we talk about resistance. Would the age of the child now be a factor in the resistance? Yeah, and then I got this other loaded question for you, but go ahead and answer that.
well, there's a lot of things that contributes to why a child may be resistant. A child
Right.
may be resistant because they don't want to feel like they are a traitor to their parent. If I love and respect this man who isn't my father more than my father, maybe he disciplines me in a way that helps me, that grows me, that strengthens me. And if I give him that respect, then I may lose that connection with my father. And that happens a lot. Parents, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously, put a barrier up, put a charge on their kid that they have to choose and pick sides. And so when we're dealing with like blended families, the best blended family is one where two separate entities, the father, the biological father, and the biological mother, along with the stepfather and the stepmother, are able to work as one unit. The child gains a bigger family instead of is torn between multiple people. And
Okay.
so that would be the ideal blended family, is where everyone works together as a team for the sake and benefit of the child.
Okay. Well, listen, John. What if the mother said, "Well, I don't want you to do that because you don't know how to discipline my child like the father did, and this child has a good attachment to the biological father, even though the father is absent. Okay? And I don't want you to uh to discipline him in your way, because if you do that and he doesn't like your way, because you might be your way may be the right way, but it may be just a little bit different from what the child might want. Now, if that happens, John, is it possible that the degree to which this child is still attached to the biological father, and like you said, may feel like they're being treacherous, they're traitors, to
Mm.
the biological father? Okay, that this the emerging father, the stepfather, could now be seen as someone who is infiltrating, and this child may now take it out on the mother because she invited somebody else into their sanctuary, the very center of their soul, and the closeness that they had. Because listen, the father and mother separated, but maybe the child didn't have nothing to do with that. And often they don't. And they don't want their children, the father, to be separated from mother. They want to have both of those together. A bunch of stuff I just asked you, so just take it away.
Man, so the first thing that comes to mind is the guilt mothers hold
Okay.
because it didn't work out with the biological father.
Okay.
And they hold a guilt that sometimes don't allow them to allow someone else to come in and play that role or discipline them. They feel like only I can discipline my child because I am not going to allow them to get hurt again. And to those mothers, I would say, why did you pursue a relation, or did you pursue a relationship with your child in mind? Because
Mm.
if you feel that only you can discipline your child and only you will allow your child to be disciplined by you because you can't trust anyone else, another man, for whatever reason, to ever be in that place, but introduce a man into the home, that is a conflicting message. And that could be more detrimental than anything, is to say, hey, this man is good enough for me, but not good enough for you.
Mm.
And then
Well,
you start building a lack of trust and other things that come into play into that child. And that child feeds off that energy. And that you'll notice that a lot of times the children will play parents, even biological parents,
oh
against each
yeah,
other if they know that
yeah,
there's this rift
right.
and they're feeding off that negative energy, where the parent is like, well, I'm being protective, but what you're doing is being damaging by introducing someone into the environment that you don't trust to be a part of that child's life.
But isn't that in some way, John? I'm thinking that if the biological, mother who is available in the child's life not wanting like you said, the man that she loves, the man that she loves, don't want him to be a parental factor, you know, in the child's life. Okay, isn't that at some level like having another adult in the family, but living a single parent family lifestyle?
Right, right. Because they have not learned the benefit of partnership.
Okay,
They a lot of times they've been single mothers for an extended period of time, and learn how to navigate and be and succeed in controlling that part of their environment, but still wanting companionship.
okay,
And
right,
so they're like, I want companionship, I want love, but I don't want to give up control. And so I'm trying to merge the two, by staying independent while still giving a little bit of love.
okay,
And we know that that never works. That becomes dysfunctional, and it causes the relationship to never become cohesive.
okay,
But when you truly understand, going back to discipline, when you truly understand the benefit and what discipline is, you should look for someone who can discipline your children, who understand how to discipline your children. And what that means, that's something that I would vet before I even married someone, to understand they have the patience, the insight, and the creativity to be able to discipline. Because
hmm,
not it's not easy. Punishment is easy. Inflicting pain when you're upset, that's easy.
okay,
But teaching a lesson, that's difficult.
okay. Wait, but John, what if this man was never a parent? See, now that's one thing. If the stepfather was never a parent, so that's one thing. Let me throw a couple of other things in here. That there are different reasons why we have blended families. You know, maybe the father died, and it's not a factor in the child, a physical factor, but in terms of an emotional memory, is still a factor in that child's life. It could be divorce, or maybe the mother and the father of the child were never married. They are estranged, but for some reason there might be something about the mother that she did not share with her new spouse, about her ongoing attachment to the to the father of the child. And or maybe she wants to develop a kind of relationship with the child that keeps her safe, and keeps, with somebody who she's saying, this man will never leave me like other men have left me. And there's all kind of stuff for this blended family, man.
Sure, there's a lot of pain, a lot of hurt that goes into uh, pouring your life into someone, separating, and then vulnerability to try it again with someone new. And so there's a lot of fear, that and a lot of trauma even, that needs to be processed and dealt with before before you unite yourself with someone else. But that is something that needs to happen before marriage. And if you're already in a marriage and you realize it needs to happen, then you need to go and take time to address and deal with those things, because they will keep you from making good decisions, like allowing your partner to discipline. And you said something that's interesting about, maybe what if the person never been a parent? Knowledge doesn't make you a good teacher. Just because I went to school and I have the knowledge doesn't make me a good teacher. What makes me a good teacher is my ability to teach. And so I tell people, so I'll give you an example. I tell people, because I teach, and when I go into a classroom, I know the book. But if I talk to my students as if they should know the book, they're going to be lost. And so what I do as a teacher, I find out where they are and I bring them to my level. And about halfway between the semester, the course, now I can have intellectual conversations. They're no longer students, they're young intellectuals because now they can dialogue with me because they've been brought up to speed. That's what discipline is. In its core, it is bringing that child up to speed. And it may take time. It may take a moment. If they could become adults at 12, we would say go for it. But we know that the brain doesn't fully develop until they're about 20 to 24. So they're not going to get it.
Mm.
But our hope should be to get them to our level, to get them to a place where they are able to make decisions like an adult, not like a child. And so you want someone who knows what it means to be a successful adult way before you want someone who knows what it means to be a parent. I
Okay.
would look for someone who knows how to be a successful adult in my life. That'd be the qualification before if they're a parent.
Okay. So there's a question I'm gonna get to that in a moment. It's about the Bible saying, "Don't spare the rod and spoil the child." So how do you separate punishment from discipline? But we'll get to that. But listen to what I want to say as a follow up to what you're saying. What I think we're saying here is this: that the age of the child is an issue. The gender of the child might also be an issue. The degree of attachment to mother is an issue. The degree of mother's attachment and the need to have the child available to her, that might be an issue. If the child develop a good relationship with the step parent, the degree to which they do that, it may be cutting into the quality of their relationship with mother, who may be feeling abandoned in this relationship. There's just so many dynamics that's going on here. But I think the age of the children, the age of the child or children, and the gender might be an issue here. That's worth thinking about when we say what does you know and then there is something, the question, it kind of begs something else that's not stated here, that's worth for us to think through. What is it about the mother that would, like we addressed earlier on, that would want to have this man in her life but not want him to be a part of the discipline component or the growth and the development of the child, which mean that there may not be a time when she would say, "Hey, I'm going to leave the kids at home with you. I'm going to the store." She may pack them all up in her little wagon, because if she don't think that she don't trust them to discipline this child,
There
okay,
it is.
pack him up in her little wagon, take him to the store. He's home all by himself, or he has to go with them if he wants to keep the family system as it is intact. So there's just so many other pieces here that's going on, and I think I think that there's this big issue of trust and alliances and so
Trust,
on and
yeah.
so forth that's going on here.
And a power struggle.
Yeah. Okay.
Power struggle. I've worked with blended families
Okay.
where in order to have more control over the home, I weaponize your relationship with my child. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I see it all the time. You formulate, as a man, you formulate a bond with this child, and you imagine investing in this child your resources, your finances,
Mm.
your time, your attention. And then when it's time to invest in that child from a discipline point of view, then it's used against you. And I'm not
Right.
trying to paint, let me say this. I'm not trying to paint this as a one-sided argument, women against men, because I don't believe that that's really the crux of the problem. I think the crux of the problem is we don't understand the benefit of of having a community of people who are willing to pour into our child's lives and be a part of that discipline problem or understand the benefit of discipline. I see young parents all the time and they really don't get why they think being nice to their kids, giving them what they want, allowing them to have a decision in things they're not even equipped to make decisions on is how you parent. And it's not. It is learning, teaching your kids boundaries and teaching them how to navigate this world that will throw everything at them, but them to be disciplined enough so that they can stay focused on their goals and what they're trying to accomplish. But we have a society that don't promote discipline.
Right. Okay. But John, let me ask you this, man. What if mother's reluctance to have this man parent her child or children comes from her experience of being parented by a stepfather, and she has not dealt with all of that, or she has some fears that she does not want that to be repeated in her child or children's life. Therefore, she's going to say, listen, you and I, we're cool as adults, but I don't want you to discipline my children because it's going to remind me of something that I went through that I'm still working through. And maybe, listen, she may even be angry at her mother for allowing this man to come into her life. And so she don't want her child to be angry at her for allowing this man to come into their lives and treat them in this way. So I think there's just a lot of dynamics that's just going on right here.
It is, but we have to be accountable for the baggage we bring to the table.
Yes. Yeah.
We can't use that excuse as just a way to stay in our folly or in our problem. That should bring awareness and say, okay, because I'm struggling with this, let me go and work it out because it is not fair for me to project what happened to me onto someone that I've chosen to bring into my life. And so we have to take some accountability for where we are. And if we recognize as adults that there is a problem with me, then we have to take time to work it out with the counselor. We have to take time to do the due diligence to work it out because it's not fair. You don't want to hurt your child, you don't want to hurt your relationship. So you have to do the healthy thing, which is go and work on it so that you can maintain a healthy environment.
Okay, but John, you can't work on something if you're not conscious of it, right? And the degree to which you're conscious of it is the degree to which you will have to stay in touch with the pain. Now, so this brings up a whole new word I'm going to throw in there that we're not even going to deal with. Let's talk about the grief. You got to grieve every major loss at all levels. And so maybe there's some stuff that's going on like that. But listen, man, in the interest of time, though, John, and we might come back, but I don't want to miss this question. I don't want to miss this question that somebody put up. The Bible says you don't spare the rod and spoil the child. The Bible says, spare not the rod. No. So how do you separate punishment from discipline? So I'm going to let you deal with that.
The Bible also says, don't push your child to wrath.
Yes.
And so what I would say to parents, yes, but you understand in the Bible, the rod, when they use sheep, guided. It wasn't something that necessarily you just beat the sheep over the head with. It's what you use to guide the sheep to stay in line with everyone else. The rod was a guiding tool that put them in line. So when you say don't spare the rod, like don't not, I'm using a double negative,
Go ahead.
correct their behavior. When you see a behavior that is wrong, correct it. And I'm going to tell you,
Love.
a lot of times when you inflict pain, like spankings and harsh disciplines that have nothing to do with what they did, I'm just going to take your phone. I'm going to send you to the room without dinner, or I'm going to spank you and whoop you, that only lasts as long as the pain is there. But it never teaches, it doesn't put them back in line. It just tells them how to, they need to avoid you. I
Fear,
need
right?
to, I need to, I need to not get caught, or I need to make sure that I can take the pain or whatever, that may be. But it's not guiding. It's not the rod that guides. I think we get that rod mixed up. We think that rod is like a hammer or a baseball bat that we're supposed to hit our kids with. But when shepherds use a rod, they use it to guide. Matter of fact, their rods would have a hook on it, and that hook would, when a sheep tries to get too far away, they can hook it and capture it and bring it and bring it close to them. Now, pain is involved in it. Don't get me wrong, there are some discomfort when it comes to discipline. I use this as scenario all the time. You have a child who won't clean up their room, and so you've taught them how to clean it up. You laid down the consequences of them not cleaning up. And so you have two options. You come home, their room is dirty. You could spank them and tell them how disappointed you are, and stand over with them with the belt until they clean it up. Or you could clean up that room, take everything that's on the floor, shoes and all, put it in a bag, hold it in your room, and let them go to school tomorrow in their pajamas with one sock on and one sock off.
All right.
Now you look at one one is punishment, one can be discipline. Because guess what? You're teaching a lesson. If you do not take care of your stuff, you may lose it. And if you want to act like a bum at home, what do you think your friends are going to see? Then you need to show who you really are at school. If you're going to be a bum at home, you can be a bum at school. I'm going to teach you this lesson so that you recognize that you're not going to be two-sided. You're not going to be all put together at school like you don't have problems, but live like a bum at home.
Okay, but John, let me just go back to the Bible is full of metaphorical language. Yeah, like don't spare the rod and spoil the child. And I think, and I'm with you on that. I think a lot of people use that to, just come down and just weigh it off on the kids, whoop them till they turn green, you know. But it's quite possible that the Bible wants us to take a look at this from another way, because sheep are naturally rambunctious. They just want to do their own thing. So they use that. You're talking about the shepherd and the hook. But here we are saying, listen, sparing the rod might be not Abraham. We may not be talking to our children on the way. We may not be talking to our children on the street. We may not be talking to children when we're driving somewhere. We may not be talking to our children. That is sparing the rod, because what happens here is the rod is a corrective instrument. And when we teach them, that also is a corrective instrument.
Yes.
So when we don't talk to our children, okay, we are sparing the rod, and they get spoiled because we never taught them how to be judicious, how to be the kind of children that they need to be and grow into responsible adults. And then people start, what kind of a child is it? What kind of a home? Well, they came out of a home where they spared the rod. We did not teach them how to be good stewards of their time, good stewards of their character. We didn't teach them how to be the kind of people that they need to be. So yeah, I'm with you on that. It's not necessarily beating. It might be, as a matter of fact, sparing the rod and spoil the child. It might be the withholding of certain things that they need to become who they need to become.
Right. If you truly love your kids,
Yeah.
you would protect them from their own destruction.
Okay.
A good example, and we're going to use a Bible reference since you brought a Bible text out. where what was the kid's name who mom gave him to the priest, and he was sleeping one night, and God came to him and called his name several times.
Samuel, right?
Samuel. Was it
Yeah.
Samuel? Okay.
Hmm.
So
Samuel,
so
Samuel.
let's assume it's Samuel. But so that priest had sons, right?
Yes,
That
he
priest
did.
had sons that he never disciplined.
That's right.
And when God came to Samuel, he says, "Tell the priest that I'm going to have to take your sons' lives because they have not they have been spoiled. You have not corrected them. You have
That's it.
not you have not ordered their steps like you were supposed to, and they're spoiled and they disrespect my home and my house or whatever it may be." And so when you don't want to spoil, you don't want a kid coming up feeling entitled or spoiled, because when they become adults, it becomes destructive. And if you are a loving parent, you have to make sure that your child is being disciplined, learning the lessons so that they can be a successful adult. And sometimes you can't do that alone. You can't do discipline. I don't even think it was meant to be alone, to be done alone. You need a community. You need as many people as possible saying the same message and holding your children accountable so that they can become strong adults. And so,
Okay.
yeah, if you have people who are willing to pour into your kids, yeah, vet them, make sure that they know how to discipline. But if they do and they're willing to pour into your kids, let them, because they need it. This world, I'm telling you, this world is designed to spoil our children. Everything is at their fingertips. They don't have to work for nothing. I mean, you think about, I work with employers, and they said these kids will not, if they don't like a job, they will quit. They have a hard time. They have to give them and beg them to stay, because we're living in a generation where a child, they're spoiled, and they will not work if they don't like what they're doing. If they have a bad day, they will literally walk away from a job without giving any notice, and the only reason they can do that is because they are spoiled. They are allotted an environment that is without discipline.
There's also to stay in a job, it requires commitment. And now commitment here, the way I'm framing it, the way I'm framing it is this. It's not, I think from my perspective, I think we want people to be committed to something outside of the self, like a job, a car, a house, whatever, a cat, a dog, whatever. But commitment is because I'm committed to me. There are certain things I will not do because I'm committed to who I am. There are certain things that I do because I'm committed to me. The degree to which I'm committed to me must impact the way that I'm committed to other people, other things outside of my life. Anyway, John, listen, man, let's just round it off, and just head back here for a couple of minutes, okay? So, you know, I think there are certain things that's going to work really well in a nuclear family, and may not even work well in a nuclear family if there is fussing going on between parents. And like you said, the kids, here is mother, here is father, and the kids are sitting like right here between them. Okay, when the kids they can't clasp like this. Yeah, and so the kids serve as a buffer to maybe their need, or their fear of being engulfed by being in a relationship that requires this. You know what I'm saying? So there are that's in a nuclear family. And in a blended family, parents are I think, trying to reconstruct or to construct something that they wanted but never had. But now they have children. And the thing about it is that, if they can get past this whole idea or issue of strangers, because everybody in the family now becomes strangers. If they can come to where, the the absent parent, like you said, and the two present parent, if they come and if the absent father, almost have to give permission or be okay with this person, if they know the character of this person, the behavior of the new husband, then I think it's going to be a lot easier, and mother will feel at ease, because you're right. If we don't do what we're supposed to do, we're going to be going down, depending on what age they are, like where we are in Huntsville, they're going to be going down to the D home, to their Davis Needs Center. Okay. And from there, they just traverse through the system, keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Then next thing you know, they're at the county jail. And, so we really don't want that. So I think children need guidance. I'm with you on that. They need discipline. But I think at some point, parents need to get to the place where they're saying, listen, it's not about what I want. Can I trust my child with this man? If I can't trust my child with this man, I don't need to be with this man, because then I'm being selfish, using the man for my gratification, but not here for the edification of my children.
Right.
So have the last word on this, John, and then we'll close it.
I'll end with this, and I've seen this over and over and over again.
All right.
I used to work, one of my first professional career was working at a residential care facility for boys with behavioral problems.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, even the worst kids thrive in an environment that's disciplined. We used to have this worker. His name was Mr. Haskell, and he was a mean cuss, but he loved the kids. But he would not give them an inch. If they wanted, they had to work. He was over work detail, and if they didn't cut the grass right or pick up the logs like they were supposed to, he would stay out all night with them until they got it done correctly. And they would fuss and fight, but at graduation, without fail, the one person that the students that graduate would thank without fail was Mr. Haskell, the one that gave them the most discipline. And I'm telling you, even though your child, and I'm speaking to parents, even though your child or your stepchild may be resistant to you giving them life lessons and teaching them, stick with it, because they're going to fight against it, but they will listen to it. And I'll tell you this, and this, if we're speaking spiritual, I'm going to end with this. The Bible said, teach a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. Don't mean that they won't have a tough time, but stay consistent and be purposeful in your discipline. Let it mean something. Let it teach something. Give lessons that teach, and your kids will benefit from it, and they will appreciate it in the long run.
Man, a word from a wise man to those who desire wisdom. Thank you, John Ruffin, my friend of many years. John, it's been my pleasure again, man. You know how people say we're going to have you back, and they don't? I'm going to have you back because we had you back.
Yeah, man. Let's make it a regular thing. I'd love to be a regular guest.
You love to be a regular guest? All right then, man. But you said it. Everybody heard you say that, and I'm willing to go down that road, man, because there's just so much that you and I can just kind of just beat around, play a game of tennis with, and that kind of stuff, and I really, really appreciate. But John, before you go, I really appreciate you, man. Can you tell people how to get in touch with you?
Okay, so the best way
to get in touch with you.
The best way to reach me is through my website, which is touchofpeace.org.
Say that again.
A touch of peace.
Yes.
.org. That's the best way you can reach me. All my information is on that website. Phone numbers, email, Twitter, TikToks, whatever you're looking for. A little bit about me and my company. That's the best place to reach me.
And just real quick, just what what group of people you work with, you like to work with, kids, marriage, whatever, just go ahead and talk, just say that, so that people, hey, I like John Ruffin, I need to go see John.
So I have a team of counselors. It's 5 of us all together. and we all specialize in different things. Um, Marriage and family, youth, young adults, all those major issues like that, we definitely deal with. Um, most generalized issues, depression, anxiety, just trying to process choices in life, maturity issues, trauma, those things. We work with a lot of those things.
Okay. All right. So since you want to make this a regular thing, John, what maybe the next time you come on, we'll talk and make it happen to bring on one of your other therapists you have down there and talk about what they do and see if we can mesh this into developing really good relationships, regardless of the how the relationship, the structure of the relationship, but talk about the quality of the interpersonal relationship to make it grow, say, between client and the therapist, that kind of a therapeutic alliance kind of a thing. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about, John, man. I'm glad to hear you say that, man. Really glad. All right, John, man. Listen, man, I
Okay.
appreciate you.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna have you back again. I like
Yes,
the
sir.
idea that you like to do this more often, and you got other people in your organization that can really be a part of this. I love that. This way we can take a look in a more holistic way of talking about relationships. Okay, John, is that
All
good for
right.
you, man? All
Yes, sir.
right. All right. Listen. I just want to thank you all. Of course, I want to thank my guest, man, John. He's a really good guy. Listen, if you'd like to be considered for future show, just email drkitspeaks@gmail.com and my team will get on it for you. If you want to be considered, we want to consider anybody and everybody because we're dealing with the quality of interpersonal relations. drkitspeaks@gmail.com. Okay, like us, follow us, share, wave your flag around and say, hey, Dr. Kit is on Tuesdays. And normally at 6, but we had to make an adjustment today, but we got it done. And so we're looking forward to you being a part of our ongoing, consistent audience. Okay, so thanks much. See you next time on Dr. Kit Shake Up with Dr. Kit. All right, be good. Bye-bye.